So, different video this time, mostly because two videos that I was recording for are not at the point where they can conclude. So there I was, May 14th, a wonderful Sunday afternoon, on Mother's Day, and after having finished visiting all the mothers, as if Santa, but with a hairier sack, thinking I had the grand idea of taking two videos I had done, and watch closely what happens next, put them together. I know, incredible stuff. So the idea was taking the Suzuki Cappuccino and making it in GT7 as close as possible to the one from my Toge video. And the plan was to take it around the Nurburgring open meet lobbies and see what kinds of times I can run. Naturally, I started with, yeah, that's right. Just by the nature of what I was possessed to do, I needed a Suzuki Cappuccino, which I had one. Funny thing being, I wasn't the only one who had love for this car. Baby Supra. So first, I wanted to do a baseline run. So this was going to take some time as, you know, the nature of K cars, to act as natural as a K car can. It naturally has below optimal speed to move quickly around a track such as this. But I did it in the name of science. Whoa. Now, when I first decided to do something with the Cappy and GT7, I had no intentions of engine swapping, because getting an engine swap was quite literally winning the lottery. So, the idea was to fully build the stock engine to hopefully meet the power the one from the Toge video had. And if you watched that video, you would know it had this car sporting a whopping 170 horsepower. The unfortunate thing was that this engine fully maxed was only capable of 140 some odd power. I also got drift parts because, you know, just in case. Baby bottle. So I got a baseline with the engine maxed, and my idea was to get the engine swap in hopes that I would be able to get closer to that power. At the time, I had not known that the engine swap for this car was a 13B out of an RX-7, which meant it would already be making crazy horsepower that a car like this has no right possessing.
Okay, ma'am, calm down. What kind of shot?
Look, I was just looking to make up the 20-something horsepower, but anyway, this was where the whole process slowed to a crawl. did it. It had been just a few days of lottery tickets, which the idea of getting the engine swap for the car I wanted it for in the first place would have meant I would have had no idea when this video would have actually been able to conclude. Perhaps very naive of an idea to try to get a engine swap for a car based on the lottery, but you know, I was going for it. But as if by some divine force, PD came down from the clouds and granted everyone a wish. Engine swaps for all, they said. I had seen the posts leading up to the engine swaps for all update. So I had known that it was coming down the pipeline. The thing was, it wasn't exactly engine swaps for all. There was just one stipulation to get them unlocked, and that was to have collector level maxed out at 50. So this is actually where the whole idea came to a crawl, as I was going to finish up menu books in hopes that I would be able to finish off my collector level. Boy, was that actually the most naive idea. After finishing up all the menu books, I saw that I was still going to have a long way to go, and I would have to actually buy cars to max out my level. And to buy cars, I was going to need a lot of money. And to get a lot of money, I was going to have to do a lot of racing. This was going to take a long time, and for that, I learned to get good at one of the most common money farming races in the game. But first, the sim rig was under construction. She's alive. She's alive. Welcome to another sim rig update. Alright, dudes and dudettes, I give you the race car. Alright, so last kind of sim rig update, I showed that I had the seat frame. Well, I also asked if there were any suggestions of chair I should get, and I showed off the one that I was planning on getting, which, as you can see, I got because I didn't get any suggestions, which I didn't really plan on. Well, I didn't really expect, I should say, getting any. So here we have the fully built race car. So I had to modify for the handbrake because originally this part up here went into this slot here, and as you can see, that's where the chair goes now. So this originally would go into here, so I flipped it around. The frame already had these holes, so I just put some holes in here and got some hardware and spaced it out so that it would fit where I want it, because I like the street style look, you know. I could have probably fitted up here with the shifter, but I like the street style look. I wanted the handbrake by my side. So there we go. The race car is complete. Yep, that's right. My old chair that served me well and was a part of many races was now retired. From sim racing, that is. I still use it for playing guitar. Welcome to Sardinia 800, a race where I would grind hard, a lot, for millions, for a long time. Because I wanted to get through this grind as quick and efficiently as possible, I decided to try a car that I felt would be easy as hell to grind with. And that car would be this Audi EV, with its easy no-gear shifting. Give it electric or give it brake. All-wheel drive downforce monster grip champion, with an easy pit strategy of one pit stop every 5 laps, totaling 2 pit stops for the race, changing tires on both, and slurping the 220 line of electricity straight from the grid itself. With all the millions I was making, I had to spend millions on cars to, you know, collect to max my collector level. So having multiple invitations, I started with those cars, then would scoop up any other $1 million cars, often grabbing stuff from the legendary dealership, which some of these I may have future video ideas for, so spoilers! Owning all these multi-million credit cars and raking in all these millions, I had to also look like millions. All of these millions gathered and spent for the ultimate goal of the coveted 13B rotary engine from an RX-7 to be ripped out and put into my Suzuki Cappuccino. Then, I had finally done it. After many long races, I had unlocked not only engine swaps, but also the ultimate tier of parts, which the Cappy had one, which would bring it up to 152 horsepower. It was time to get another new baseline because, science. Next was to actually give it the treatment. Give this bad bitch the roaring heart of an RX-7. And then get a new baseline, which took some doing as this car was such a handful, being so tiny. It was now getting air in places you wouldn't expect it to, and always felt it was on the edge of flying off the road, because in most instances it was. It really took me a while to get used to driving this car, and eventually the results were inconclusive. Psych! Why would I give up that easy after I spent all that time for this exact purpose? To build an uncontrollable monster and learn to tame it around this beast of a track, controlling the car as if a weapon, and using it to attack the course as if defending yourself against this beast, and in this case nicknamed the Green Hell. After I got some runs in with the car as it was time to max out the engine. That's right, even more power flowing through this tiny little bean. And this thing had gotten even scarier. There's something about this car that is just so fun to drive. You feel like you're always on the edge of your doom because you are. But once I got the hang of this monster, it had become a fun little dance. I would still make mistakes now and then, but it was a wild car to drive. There was one problem with this car though. I started this whole project trying to mimic the car that I used from Assetto Corsa in my Toge video, but it was far from that same car. Unrecognizable was the Toge car. So, it was time to give this a new look, and what better look than this baby Supra. Now it was time to get my final baseline. And with that, and feeling the most confident with myself in this car, it was time for the meat lobbies. I was curious about what I might see today now that more people have access to engine swaps. But first, I was immediately hit with a no fun beyond this point. I tried another, which didn't really have anyone in it, but luckily it didn't take long for others to join in. Now, I did see some interesting sights. Not just vehicles, but someone seemed to be impressed by what I would believe slim chance of a real race car driver here in the GT7 open lobbies. But who knows, I could be wrong. My runs weren't anything too special while in this lobby, but I was here for the fun and potential shenanigans common in these open lobbies. One of the interesting sights I saw was this little Toyota and this race car out for a little ride together. It reminded me of a father taking out their son for a walk till tragedy struck and the Toyota disappeared. The race car was now too depressed to go fast and continue with its leisurely ride, now beaten down by life. The track is rough sometimes. Sometimes you don't run as quick as you can, and sometimes you run quicker than you expect, but I still had a lot of fun running the track. Also, I never did anything with those drift alerts. Perhaps a future video? Yo, end of video send off. This one took a while to get out because there was a lot of stuff that happened in between. Having to get level 50, all of the races that I had to do to make money to do so, changing up the sim rig, and because I had to do some modifications to it, it took a little bit longer. Oh, and also, the editing itself took a little bit of time. Going forward, as far as, like, scheduling goes, I do want to try to get, like, at least a video up a week. If I don't, it's because of a bigger project like this. For those that watch regularly, I really appreciate you watching, and just know that if I take a while to get a video out, it's because it's just taken a while to make that video, but do expect a video eventually. Anyway, with that, you all have a good one, and until next time, take it easy.
The Ouija board, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. Go up to it,
Check this
let's
out.
click on it.
Sick.
I was like, yo, go to this
Dude.
board.
It's nowhere close to your mouth.
Man,
One
killed
pull.
that thing.
One pull, baby.